Peace, Goddess Never Soul here to align those chakras. And we're going to do this week's forecast. We're going to start off with Ganesha deck. It is Mercury retrograde shadow, so I'm sure everybody's going through it. So I've been going through it, so I'm sure y'all been going through it, because, man, this Mercury retrograde shadow is crazy. But I don't know if it's also just me, because I have a hard time with Aquarian energy, even though we're in the Aquarian age. But that's just me. It's also just the polar opposite of my sign, so I think that's why I have so much trouble. But let's see what Spirit got for us today. Well, for this week's reading. Ooh, be candid. This makes so much sense. And I'm gonna tell you what. This whole week, my throat has been bothering me. And usually I start getting the downloads, a couple days prior. My throat has been hurting, and not in a sore sickness way, just more of I could feel like there was an energy blockage there, so makes sense. We need to be speaking our truth. We need to be tapping into who we are, expressing it. If we've been shy or running away from our potential, this is the time to definitely start taking those steps into tapping into who you are and what you need to say. And I feel like, as we're moving deeper into the Aquarian age, a lot of you are going to start feeling more supported in what you're trying to do, because you're going to be able to attract more of what you resonate with. So right now is really about, or this week is more about finding the space to just speak your truth. How can you be yourself more? How can you take yourself to the next level and bring out parts of you that you probably never wanted to express before? I know a lot of us like to be isolated, and we like to keep our energy to ourselves, but I feel like this year is going to be calling us to express more, because a lot more people are going to be needing guidance. A lot more people are going to be needing influence. So it's really time for us to start stepping out of our comfort zone. And this quote that I really try to live by: you can only choose comfort or courage. You cannot choose both. So this is for sure a time for us to choose courage and to stop choosing being comfortable. Say what you gotta say, even if it makes people uncomfortable, because even if you say it in the nicest way possible, people are still going to take it however they want to take it, because it's always down to perception and how people interpret things, and they're going to interpret things based on their own experience. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us shy away from our truth because we don't want to say anything to hurt people. But this year is really about change, so we have to start changing too. We have to start really putting who we are out there in our truths. And then, see, we got that 5 energy. Last pull, we had energy movement, we had dance. So here it goes again, energy movement. It's time to move that stagnant energy. A lot of us have been bottling in so much energy for so many years, for such a long time, to the point where it's generational. We need to start moving. We need to start expressing ourselves in a different way, to start moving out of the lower chakras, because last week we were working on the lower chakras. It seemed like we started to move it up a little bit. We have to do our best to really stop with the stagnant energy. Be you. And stop letting yourself, feel shy again from bringing change into your life. Stop being so afraid of change. Stop being so afraid of what it means to change and what it means to Be a little more extroverted. What it means to bring more life into your life. Play more music and high vibrational music, like very positive stuff, things that really feed into your frequency, things that make you dance, things that make you really tap into your happiness, because we need to start moving away from the sacral energy, which is sexual and creative energy, and we need to start moving into the higher space, tapping more into the intuition, tapping more into the collective energy, especially because the earth is speeding up, so time is going to be moving a little different, so you don't want to get left behind on that one. So it's really time to start making room and making space for these changes. And so energy movement is one of the ways that you can move frequency, move energy. So even if you don't believe in Reiki, even if you don't believe in crystals, even if you don't believe in anything metaphysical, movement would always be the correlation to that. The more you move, and exercising is like a huge representation of that. The more you exercise, the more you actually feel healthy, the more you feel tapped into yourself, and the more you feel like you love yourself, because that is a form of self-love, stretching and making sure you have movement. So, before I even got on here, I did my little, hit little stretches, because we need to open your joints up, open your body up, stretch your muscles out. We all being a little too tense. So higher vibrations is being called down into our frequency. So it is time to accept that and to really start making some changes. And we got empowerment for the solar plexus. So even though we were working more on the lower chakras last week, we are still going to be using the solar plexus, because the solar plexus is where we have our vitality, our energy. So even though we want to start moving up the scale to the higher frequencies, we still have to focus on the solar plexus. So one way that you can, or a few ways you can tap into that solar plexus, is by bringing more yellow into your life. So whether you're eating it, wearing it, subconscious programming. So I like to suggest putting something yellow or putting in that color on your phone. So if you can just find like a background to put either as your lock screen or like your actual background, the yellow subconscious programming will for sure help you start tapping into that. And different ways to eat it would be, eating pineapples, bananas, drinking yellow drinks. So I would even say like orange juice, because orange juice is kind of like a tint between yellow and orange. So even some orange juice could work. But, this makes a lot of sense. Like, we really need to start tapping into our willpower and how much we can really be ourselves. And I think that's the theme of this week. How can we be more of ourselves? So again, tapping into that throat chakra, which above the heart space is when you start hitting the higher frequencies. So we do have some blue energy pouring in to start pushing us into more energetic movement, to start getting rid of stagnant energy and feeding that solar plexus. It's time to really stop being introverted, guys. I know we want to be introverted, but it's time to stop. We are holding ourselves back from our own potential. And again, now that, we're moving it more into the Aquarian age, I feel like in general it's going to be calling us to be more vocal, to be different, to be more bold, because the frequency is raising. We don't really got a choice. We gotta do what we gotta do when we gotta do it. And we can't shy away. And that energetic movement card, that keeps popping up. So we really have to start focusing more on being more movement, being more emotion, being more, and that's physically, spiritually, emotionally, just bringing out a different frequency for ourselves. Ooh. I think we're gonna do one more. Yep. Okay, now from the fairy deck, we have the Fairy Norn, which is about planning, patience, and cooperation. And again, we have a lot of purples and blues here, so there's a lot of higher frequency energies coming down onto the planet this week. It's going to be a lot of self-reflection, but what I appreciate here is the fairy has this mirror in front of her, but there's a unicorn in there. So this is really about believing in yourself. And this is why we need this energetic movement. This is why we need more vocalization with the throat chakra, and why we need to be fueling that solar plexus. It's time to start believing in yourself. Even if what you think you are is out of this world, you need to be that. Because I'm gonna let you know, it's a little suspicious that they decided to reveal and disclose UFOs with the COVID bill. Come on, guys. It's time to start being yourself, no matter how crazy that seems, no matter how weird that seems. Again, no matter how out of this world it seems. Just be you. Because you will never really know how much you impact people around you by whether you're just doing things or posting things or going outside and being something different. There's also, she's also still weaving. Sorry, this is not a mirror. This is, I forgot what you call this thing, but she's actually weaving that. So to me, it still looks like a mirror, so I still see it as a reflection, but it's time to start really tapping into yourself, because there's incomplete parts of yourself that you're probably feeling and you feel a little disconnected, but we gonna start getting that clarity, because that higher frequency is starting to pour in. So the universe wants us to explore ourselves and wants us to really tap into new levels of spirituality too. Things are changing rapidly, so I think it's really important for us to start taking the next step and moving into spaces and, perspectives and just different ideologies that we may not have been used to before. Like, this is really crazy to me, because like the Aquarian age is really speaking out, and it makes so much more sense too, because Mercury retrograde is just around the corner, and that's all about reflection. So planning, you always want to make sure that you're triple checking everything during Mercury retrograde, including the shadow phase, because there could be flaws or little things in contracts and stuff that you may miss. So like, you really have to double check on everything. And this is why it's also a time of reflection, because this is supposed to be a time where, like I call the in and out phase, where you've had all these experiences. Now it's time to self-reflect. Now it's time to go inside. But the universe doesn't want us to just go inside, though. They want us to go inside to find a belief system that brings ourselves out more. This is just a temporary going within moment, but it's not for you to stay within. It's for you to find ways to tap into that solar plexus and really start bringing out a different aspect of yourself, or a different version of yourself that you may not have even felt like you could reveal to the world. But we need that energy, we need that frequency. So this week is going to be very interesting. And man, we got that golden unicorn, which is about protection, guardian, and champion. So trust that you are being divinely guided. You are being supported. And this is why we need to start expressing ourselves again and bringing more movement into our lives, because we've been really holding ourselves back. And I feel like a lot of people might have done that too, because, with this whole weird 2020, a lot of people were forced to do things they didn't want to do, which was be by themselves. But you spent that whole year, hopefully, going within. So now it's time for us to really start bringing out who we are and trusting that we can be those individuals and be accepted for who we are, because we don't know what impact we're going to hold for the world. Things are really changing. we need to start changing with it. And I'm excited because we have hope for the future, shining, and this one's called the Baboon. But yeah, this one's about shining and hope and future. So again, it is time to display who you are. It is time for you to really be you and be unapologetic about it. There's room for all of us in whatever you're trying to do. Like, even if there's like 1,000 people doing what you do, nobody's you though. You're very special, and you have to trust that you will shine differently. And even though people may want to gravitate to other things, there's also room for you too in that. You know, for example, just because I drink alkaline water doesn't mean that I'm not going to go buy other alkaline waters. I want to have the different frequencies and different minerals and vitamins and whatever that different waters can bring to me. So it's never just going to be just one tunnel vision. Like, there's room for everyone. There's literally over 7 billion people on this planet. There is room for you to be who you want to be and to shine. You can shine, but you need to self-reflect, and you need to believe in yourself and see the potential that you have, no matter what obstacles, no matter what's around you. Taking that leap and betting on yourself and really investing into yourself. And I really feel like that's another theme for this week. How can you better invest in yourself without it being so low vibrational, because we're starting to move up and out of that lower frequency? So how can we really start bringing unconditional love into our space and trusting what we need to be doing? And just remember that you're always supported, guided, and looked out for. It's time to really start believing in synchronicity. Nothing happens for no reason. Everything happens on purpose and on time. Everything is on divine timing. So we gotta trust more, guys. And I feel like that's why Spirit is calling us to tap more into the throat chakra, because the more you become unapologetic, the more that reflects in all different aspects of your life and areas of your life where you will really bring forth who you are and be able to really take your life to the next level, because now you, again, you're moving that stagnant energy, so you're creating space now. You're creating space for you to bring more abundance into your life. You're creating more space for you to see the synchronicities, for you to be supported. Even though your spirit guides are there constantly helping you, you can take that further, but you have to trust that as well. You have to be willing to tap in and to listen and to know that you are not just here by yourself. Yes, you are, but no, you're not. There's spirit. Spirit will always be guiding you. You're never alone. So when you feel disconnected, when you feel stagnant, when you feel low, sit down and be like, hey, I know I have all these spirits around me. How can you help me fix like what I need to work on right now? How can you help me see what I need to see that I can't see? How can you help bring me more clarity, because I'm in need of it? But we tend to deal with a lot of things alone, and then that causes us to get very introverted, and then we stop being ourselves. We start becoming shy. We start feeling like who we are doesn't matter. We start feeling like what we are doesn't matter in life, that we're just another human being just living life, and that we don't serve a purpose. Or because you don't have all these gifts and talents, you think you don't serve a purpose. But everyone serves a purpose. Even the ant serves a purpose. The ant literally is how plants vegetate. It helps open up the space for the roots to move through the soil. It helps loosen up the soil, so even the smallest thing holds such a big place in the world. So we really need to start feeding that solar plexus and really trusting that we are divine and that we have everything we need. But a lot of this self-reflection also stems from you being able to see what is already around you and being able to see the abundance in that, and to be able to really be grateful and show gratitude. And the more you show gratitude, the more you really start seeing how much you're being divinely supported. Like if you're seeing angel numbers and stuff, if you're feeling drawn to different things now, like this is the world and the universe trying to talk to you. This is your spirit guides trying to talk to you and trying to remind you that you are already on the path you need to be on. So we really need to, start taking that introvert energy and start stepping out of our bubble, start stepping out of your box. Because we're all needed right now. Like, the world is changing. And like I said earlier, like, these suckers revealed and disclosed UFO stuff with the COVID bill. Like, the world is changing. You can be whoever you need to be. And last, we're gonna pull from the Earth Magic deck. See what Mama Gaia has to say. Ooh. These cards is coming out. Alright. We have clouds and shape-shifting. This is very important right here. This is literally about us being in those high vibes and being whoever you need to be when you need to be it. Don't feel bad if you're multi-talented. Don't feel bad if you can do a lot of different things, if you're intelligent in many different ways, if you have like a lot going on for yourself and you're very versatile. That is what we need. People that are actively using their brains, actively using their energy, and really just tapping into their potential. And I feel like the clouds really represent like cycles too, because the water is falling and then coming back up and then being repurposed. So I really feel like this week's energy is about how can you repurpose what you already have going on to better you, and how can you repurpose it, because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are feeling stagnant right now, and this is why the energy card keeps coming up. So I think this week is about you reflecting and understanding that it's not that you're failing at what you're doing. You just need to repurpose. You need to reshape it. We are constantly growing, constantly changing, literally all the time. So sometimes you may start a project, or you may start off with an idea, and then you try to start dabbling into it, but then you realize this is not really working. It doesn't really feel good. I don't think this is what I need to be doing. But in actuality, sometimes it's just that, we have too much stagnant energy that we were just working on the breadcrumbs, but we didn't realize that we were looking at a smaller picture. So again, I think this week is about recognizing how you've been putting yourself in tunnel vision. How you've been creating a narrow perspective and limiting your potential. How can you start opening your potential and repurposing the things in your life to service who you are now? Because again, you're constantly experiencing and growing, so the things that you may have experienced before may be different now. And I posted something recently when I said, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay if you had a belief system that you no longer resonate with, and you now want to move into a space where you want to repurpose that idea, repurpose that perspective, and now start moving a different way without feeling bad. Because the greatest way that we learn is through humility. So even if you spent like $500 on crayons, but then you was like, oh shit, I can't do nothing with these crayons, you can literally repurpose it and find another way. And don't feel bad about the investment you made, just repurpose. And I feel like clouds too are always speaking to us, and as a constant reminder that even when things are gray, even when things, there's a lot of overcast, there's not too much sun, there's not, enough ambition or motivation, again, you can shape shift and literally transmute that energy into whatever you need. Literally, we're learning how to stop staying in positions that we don't want to be in, how can we repurpose? So this week is literally about repurpose, and it makes sense because, again, we're moving into the Mercury retrograde energy, which is all about the re's. RE. So reflection, revise, revisit. It's about slowing down and finding how you can put yourself in a position to take advantage of what you have around you. How can you be more thankful and see the blessings and the abundance and the purpose of the things that's already around you? Because we tend to really settle for what we have going on and pick and choose whether it feels good enough or feels like it serves enough purpose for us. We gotta change that perspective, man, and really stop feeling so narrow-minded and so pessimistic. There we go. Very pessimistic. How can you get into a perspective where you are literally putting yourself more into optimism? How can you stop blocking yourself before you even have a chance? Because we tend to do that a lot. We'll be like, oh, I want to paint, but I don't know how to paint, so maybe I shouldn't do it. Or I see this girl over here, she's painting literally Picasso paintings. I can't do that, so maybe I shouldn't paint. Hey man, if you gotta start off at a grade level 2 in that painting, you need to do that. Everything takes practice. Everything takes patience. Everything takes time and research and dedication. So I think it's okay that, we've been living pretty stagnant for a while, because I think 2020 really showed you the reality of that. And the reality of what happens when you don't take advantage of your life, and when you don't live day to day and you don't appreciate your day to day. A lot of people are losing it a little bit because they don't know how to stay inside. But it's to show you how much you probably didn't appreciate outside. So again, try to do the same thing with all the different areas in your life, because we're moving into Mercury retrograde again. So the earth is really going to be going through a slowdown. You need to mind your business for a little bit and really self-reflect and understand how you've been creating your own roadblocks, how you've been creating your own stagnancy in your life, and finding a way to repurpose that frequency, finding ways to use affirmations and meditation and whatever you need to repurpose those thoughts and to change them into more optimistic thoughts. And we also pulled just the Earth Magic Fairy card. So I for sure feel like this week the Earth wants us to really tap into more spiritual stuff and really going outside and tapping into nature. We are not supposed to be taking energy from each other. We're supposed to be taking energy from nature and the universe. So how can you bring more magic into your life? Through earthly things. Maybe you need more plants. Maybe you need more earth tones. Maybe you need more reminders of magic in your life. And I really find this funny because we pulled so many unicorn cards and so many fairy cards that this week is really about magic. Maybe some of y'all need to go back and watch Cinderella or something. Y'all maybe need to start tapping back into your childhood and childhood shows and movies and very magical things. Again, makes sense because all of last week I was watching Harry Potter. How can you bring more magic into your life? How can you tap into the fairy energy, where fairies are very they're very bold and very I am who I am. Even if you don't believe in me, I exist, I'm here, and I can bring magic and change and love and insight and passion into your life. How can you bring more of that into your life? This week will be about that. And it might get a little crazy, and it makes sense because the planetary placements are already doing stuff too. We also need to be very cautious because we also have volcano and volatility, which I feel like this aspect of the reading is going to be that stagnant energy that was probably a little more deeper than you thought. So be careful. And again, this is also another thing that I've noticed this week too. How can we do better on thinking before we react? Because I'm pretty sure most of us, because this is what happens when your energy becomes stagnant, you get triggered more. So how can we avoid being so triggered? How can we really learn how to be mindful and to express ourselves in a way that is not volatile, where we're not going to blow up on people and project? This week is for sure about how can we learn to stop projecting our feelings. Yes, people are in our lives to help trigger us to be more vocal, be more expressive, be more tapped in with ourselves. Like literally, people try to avoid this all the time and say, oh, everyone's not my reflection, or everyone's not projecting stuff to me. They really are. Even if it's the smallest thing, there is always a reflection that other people are going to bring into your life, because that is literally what this experience is about. If you are not going outside, your biggest lessons are going to be through people. If you are not researching and studying and putting yourself in a space to really work on yourself, the way the universe is going to bring those changes and transformations is through people. So this week we need to be really careful on being too reactionary and being more grounded. So again, it ties into us needing to do this throat chakra work, because it is literally the throat chakra that really throws this off. If you are not expressing yourself, you are literally bottling all that energy up, so that when the right moment comes, you will literally blow up, because there's all this energy, all this frequency that you weren't dealing with that are now coming up. So this week is going to be for sure about how can we be more grounded, but with a higher perspective. Because last week we were working on the lower chakras, so we should have been already healing and dealing and working on patience. But now that we're having a lot of energy movement being brought in, we just have to be a little more careful. So how can we be more grounded with high intention? And it's about literally biting your tongue. You need to sit and think about what is affecting you, what is being said to you, why are you responding the way that you are, and how can you bite your tongue and really sit and process before you just throw it all at people. Because the whole purpose too of patience and grounding and mindfulness is literally treating others how you want to be treated. Do you want people blowing up on you like this? No, don't nobody like that. So why aren't you, where are you lacking a boundary where you cannot find yourself to be more respectful and mindful? Even if someone triggered you, even if someone said something crazy to you. Like, for example, I actually seen a video yesterday where this lady had her hijab on, and the car behind her in the drive-thru, the dude called her a bitch. So what she ended up doing, she paid for that man coffee. And she told the cashier, she was like, let him know I paid for his coffee because he called me a bitch. And if you think about that, that was her choosing not to be volatile. She could have responded and, cursed him out. She could have let that ruin her whole day. She could have literally sat all day thinking about, damn, this man really sat there and came out of his mouth to literally call me a bitch because he probably upset, and I'm sure he probably not getting it. You start down trickling into why he's the way he is and why he chose to say what he said to you, and why or what you have going on that may have made him choose you to react to. But maybe you just had more in your cup to offer this person. And again, because we don't self-reflect, because we let energy become stagnant, we don't allow ourselves to really express ourselves. So then what ends up happening is when you're not going outside, you're not working on yourself, you learn through people. So people start growing through people, and hurt people hurt people. So her choosing to pay for this man's coffee is literally potential and holding space for him to make a different choice. Either he can continue the rest of his day being a bitch, because clearly he's projecting his own feelings of himself and not how he actually felt about this person. Or, like, is he gonna choose to be a bigger person and be more mature and literally decide to make the better choice and to be like, all right, I'm tripping. Why did I just project onto this person? How can I choose better? How can I turn my day around? How can I decide to be like, this is going to be a good day, even though I'm miserable, even though I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, even though I probably lost my keys, stubbed my toe, like, and I'm looking at this girl with her hijab on and I'm ready to curse her out because I just don't like the way she looked. You could sit there and be miserable, and then when that magic fairy come around who got the frequency and the energy and the unconditional love, and then start projecting to you that you're not living in love and light, you decide to blow up. No, what you can do is sit, reflect, create some energetic movement in your life, express yourself, tap into that solar plexus, and really make the choice and decision to be a better person and to be more mindful. So again, it comes back to these cards too from the fairy deck, where she's literally seeing that this is her reflection. This is who she thinks she is. She's something that people may not believe in or understand, but she's still making the decision to do this project and to finish this project. And then we have the spirits of the golden unicorn. So the golden ray is very powerful. It is a very high frequency color. Gold is actually another chakra color, but it's above the crown. So that's when you start opening up your ethereal chakras and you start, taking it to the next level. That's a high ass frequency. So, Spirit is really calling on us to, yes, ground and work on the lower chakras, but to do it in a higher vibrational space. We are being called this week to no longer move in lower vibration, to no longer act in lower vibration, to not respond and react to others in lower vibration. Just because we got shit going on down there, just because we unhealed, because we miserable, because we are not happy, that is not a reason to project that onto others. That is not a reason to become volatile and to be very reactionary. It is instead calling upon you to shape-shift your reality, to shape-shift yourself, to shape-shift whatever you need to in your life to create more balance, more space for grounding, for mindfulness. And you have the assistance of the fairies, the earth magic, and the unicorns, and all these beautiful mythologic, unbelievable creatures and beings all around you and helping you and trying to help you get to this space. So let us choose more mindfulness, because we this week are learning how to shine, how to have hope, and how to look for the future and to be more at peace, more zen. So this week, let's work on listening more, talking less, and be more mindful. And that is our tea for this week. If you would like to donate, or I like to drink tea, so feel free to give that energy exchange. Or again, if you need like a private reading, that's something you can also book on my website. But I will be dropping my Cash App and stuff in the comment stuff, the description. So if you want to give me some energy exchange, it would be gladly appreciated. If you would like to book a private reading, hit the link in my bio. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. Again, keep in mind, this is Mercury retrograde shadow phase. So we will be called upon reflecting, revising, revisiting, and slowing the fuck down. Enjoy the rest of your week, y'all. Peace.